Keep your eye on the ball. I'm Joseph. This is Input English. So what's that expression all about? Keep your eye on the ball. Well, that is a very American expression you hear often, and it comes from baseball. This was advice given to young baseball players or even more experienced baseball players who are having problems either hitting the ball with a bat or fielding the ball with their glove. The advice is keep your eye on the ball. It seems quite simple. Well, it has much broader applications. It's good advice in baseball, although I am not an expert on baseball. Keep your eye on the ball is used in golf as advice to the golfer. Basically, every sport that involves the use of some sort of ball, it is wise to keep your eye on the ball. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. Today, we're going to talk about that as a metaphor, because that phrase is used more often as a metaphor than it is as advice for somebody playing a sport. Keep your eye on the ball means pay attention to what you are doing. If somebody's working on a project and you tell them to keep their eye on the ball, that means stay focused on the main thing so that they will realize success in their endeavor. That phrase means pay attention. There's a related phrase that was said by Stephen Covey. You may be familiar with Stephen Covey. He wrote a book entitled The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. The quote I offer you from Stephen Covey is that the main thing is keeping the main thing the main thing. It's a play on words because he's using the phrase main thing to mean different things in the same sentence. Basically, he is saying it is most important to stay very focused on the most important part of your project or activity. Now, that's quite a trick for a human being because we can be easily distracted. There are a lot of shiny objects out there that can catch our eye, and the next thing you know, we're watching a video about something that's very interesting, but it's pulled us away from what we're trying to accomplish. So the main thing is keeping the main thing the main thing. Stephen Covey was very clear on habits. One of Stephen Covey's most famous quotes is an interesting one. Sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. And sow a character, reap a destiny. I had to read through that a few times. He is celebrating how important our thoughts are and what they contribute to us, but he recognizes that our thoughts become valuable when they become action, when we act upon good thoughts. And then those actions become much more powerful if they become habits. He is telling us in his quote that we are a collection of habits that build our character. And if we build a good character, we build our destiny. So where am I going with this? Well, this is super related to our goals to learn another language. This is advice that we can use to our advantage. We can keep our eye on the ball. We can stay focused. Now, that actually has a couple of meanings. If we're using comprehensible input, we want to stay focused on the story or the discussion. We don't want to just play it in the background while we're doing something else that has captivated our attention. I'm not going to sit down and pay bills and play Spanish in the background. That is not useful. So our first quote of the day here, keep your eye on the ball, stay focused, pay attention, really makes sense. The other point of keeping your eye on the ball when learning a language is to Stay focused on the process, the program that you're putting together for yourself. Make sure that it meets your needs. Make sure that it's actually going to result in what you want. Now, we've learned a great deal about goals. We've learned that goals by themselves don't have a lot of power. They're just wishes. But if you have passion behind them and habits behind them, then you can get something. Some people make goals that are very non-specific. They'll make a New Year's resolution that in 2025, I'm going to get healthier, or I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to learn to speak Spanish. Those are 3 examples of very non-specific goals. They're lofty, but they don't have any power because they're not specific enough that you can act directly on them. You need more of a plan. So let's look at some goals for learning English. Well, you need to be specific. And everybody has their own circumstances that will allow them to tailor their program to their own needs. As they look at their situation, they may be concerned that they don't really have a practical grasp of how the grammar works, or they may feel that their vocabulary is just not big enough to serve them. When we get to vocabulary, people very quickly figure out that our passive vocabulary is always bigger than our active vocabulary. This is human. This is normal. All people can understand a lot more words than they can use in day-to-day speech. It's just a fact of life. It's nothing we need to get excited about. It's the way our brain works. So looking at one's own situation, you might decide, I need better pronunciation. I need more vocabulary. I need a better grip on the grammar. Or you could say, I need to be able to speak better with more confidence. Or you might look at this and say, I need everything. I just need to learn the whole language. What I'm advocating is that you set priorities for yourself, because that will help you attain your goals. If you can set a specific priority, then that will show you what course of action you need. If your priority is pronunciation, you'd like to be able to speak more clearly, then listening input is the way to go. Not a little bit, but a lot. Maybe 1,000 hours, maybe 2,000 hours, maybe more, but a large amount of input by listening. That's going to help you the most with your pronunciation. Let's say you're mostly concerned that you just don't know enough words. You want a lot of words. You want to learn a lot more vocabulary. Well, it's tempting to start studying and memorizing lists of words, but I don't recommend that, because our retention of memorized lists of words and our ability to deploy those words in our speech, not very good. It's not an effective use of your time. So what would be better? If you want to build vocabulary, reading. Reading is fabulous for building vocabulary. It is fabulous for giving you a better understanding of grammar as well, because when you see things on a written page, you can see in a diagrammatic way how things are laid out. It's like looking at a map, and you can see how the language is put together. It's just displayed to you in the text. When one is focused on learning a language like English with comprehensible input, we don't really recommend that you explicitly study grammar and vocabulary, because your time is better spent getting input from listening and reading. What if your priority is being able to speak to native speakers with more confidence? Well, this is not real simple, because your lack of confidence could be your pronunciation. could be your understanding of grammar, could be your vocabulary size. In other words, the whole thing may be the problem. In traditional language learning programs, there's a lot of emphasis on speaking practice. And certainly to become fluent in a language, we must speak. But I would submit that input is numerically more important than output. There's no formula I can give you. I can tell you what I'm assuming to keep it simple for myself. I'm assuming that I need 90% input and about 10% output. That assumption has worked for a lot of people. So if you are concerned about your speaking ability and you have already absorbed perhaps thousands of hours of input and you understand native speakers rather well, then you might find that language exchange would be a good way to spend your time going forward. Once you get to the point that you're ready to do output and you'd like to practice speaking English, then you can use language exchange to do that. What typically is done is pick a time, like 15 minutes or 30 minutes, and speak English to your language learning partner, and then they can speak to you in your language or in English. And then you can trade off. The nice thing about language exchange is both people participating in this get something for their time. They get a benefit. In general, when you're working with someone in a language exchange, you don't want to ask them to correct mistakes. Studies on this show that you're better off just moving on. The downside of corrections, as we've discussed in other videos, can have a negative effect on your confidence. So if I'm working with someone in a language exchange, I don't want a lot of corrections. I'm comfortable making mistakes. Making mistakes is normal. And our brain is designed to sort out those mistakes. You're better off without worrying about corrections. So now you have an opportunity to just take some time and look at your program. Take an inventory of where you are. No one watching these videos is a rank beginner. So everyone listening to these videos has a fair amount of English. And so as you look at where you stand, you should be able to see a pattern of what you need the most. You should be able to decide that your priority is pronunciation, or your priority is building your vocabulary, or you really want to have a better feel for the grammar, or you want to be able to speak with more confidence. Once you know what you need in your program, then you can make decisions how to get it. If you want to pronounce things better, listen to a lot of content. If you want to build an understanding and a feel for grammar and vocabulary, read a lot of books. The one goal that's not simple is the ability to speak with native speakers confidently, because what is lacking is not clear from that goal. It could be a lack of confidence pronouncing the words. It could be a lack of vocabulary. Could be a lack of feel for the grammar, or it could be a lack of practice speaking to another person. So I would encourage you to take a look at where you are. And if you want to make this year count for your program and really bring you up to a higher level, this would be a good time to take inventory, see where you stand, and try to make good decisions whether you need to focus on listening, reading, or speaking with a language exchange. We can discuss this in the comments section. I do encourage comments. And if you like videos like this, be sure to click on this one next. See you soon.